Hey everyone, it's Types, and the Pokemon TCG has a ton of really powerful cards. However, with rotation, the top cards are of course changing. So today I figured it would be a good time to go over the top 10 cards in standard post-rotation. Obviously, this is somewhat speculative. I've looked at Japanese tournament results though, and I have 10 cards as well as 2 honorable mentions. This obviously takes into account, cards that are just like objectively strong, right? But also cards that are in some sense taking the place of cards that are powerful that are rotating. And the criteria is of course a card being powerful in the decks displayed and being in a variety of different decks generally. If a deck is just like the best card, but it's a little narrow versus a card a card that's a little less powerful, but in a few more decks, those are kind of similar. Unsurprisingly, these are all going to be very versatile cards, so they're also very powerful, though. But let's just hop right in here. I will also say that basic energies are kind of, I don't know if they're not in the running, but they're not on this list. They're kind of hard to judge. But the first card I have here is Rare Candy as an honorable mention. Rare Candy is also hard to judge. Obviously, very good for Stage 2 decks, allowing you to evolve faster, and we are losing Team Evolution as well. So this is like a really important form of fast evolution, really the main one. And Stage 2 decks are good post rotation, though they're not like absurd. I mean, look at standard right now, and we have Gardevoir EX, we got Charizard EX, and those are both rotating. So Rare Candy, I think, is a very good card. It's a little hard to rank this card, as I said, because it's also obviously heavily reliant on the stage twos around it, and how much value do you give to Rare Candy as opposed to the stage twos. But I think it's a good card that deserves to be an honorable mention here. Then we have another honorable mention here, which is Meowth EX. Meowth EX is the only card I'll just say that isn't out yet. And yeah, this card is theoretically very good on play from hand. You have to search your deck for a supporter, reveal it, put into your hand. And this is obviously nice. We've seen this ability before. I've talked about this card a bunch. I mean, it's the best card from Nile Zero or Perfect Order. And so, I mean, it's just good, right? Meowth EX is a good card. That being said, I don't know if it's quite belonging in the top 10. This one I was really close to considering, but based on how it's been played in Japan so far, and the fact that it's, a bit of a liability in terms of its HP, it also is a Pokemon that's a little hard to search out. I mean, you really just have Ultra Ball. Nest Ball is rotating, but that wouldn't work with it anyways. So it's a little, I don't know if clunky is the right word, but it's not absurdly good, I don't think. I mean, this is, the second honorable mention. This is like the 11th best card in standard post rotation, in my opinion. And there, of course, were other honorable mentions I was kind of considering, though I feel pretty fair about these. I don't know if this is actually the 11th best card. I, focus more on the cards that are in the top 10. Ordering the cards within the top 10 is also a little hard here. But I actually have a Pokemon that I haven't had the top 10 previously. I've had it as an honorable mention, but that card is Badoo. Badoo is very good. Pokemon DC Live actually added a tutorial mode thing called Professor Fur's Learning Lab, I think. And one of the things they taught you how to do is use Badoo. Yeah, Badoo is very good. Obviously, it's a baby Pokemon, so 30 HP, free attack, free retreat. So it's got some high upsides, some pretty bad downsides. I mean, it's like very low HP, but I guess that doesn't matter too much compared to random single prizers, unless your opponent has like spread damage, but also spread damage in a very like specific way. In which case it could be a bit of a liability, but I mean, Badoo's very good, right? Item locking your opponent for free on a basic, and also having free retreat. That's super good. You can use it because you have a free attack and free retreat. You can use it while still committing your energy to other places, or like mainly retreating into it turn one or something. Badoo is just very powerful. It's also very easy to search. I was just talking about Meowth EX not being easy to search. Badoo is very easy to search with like pretty much every Pokemon search option. That sees play, I guess, outside of something like Mega Signal or Terra Orb, which are okay, but they're not that good. So yeah, Badoo is very good, and honestly, it's like it's very good in a lot of decks, and it encourages you to go second because you get the advantage of going second of playing a supporter turn one, which is very good. I would say that I think supporters are the backbone in Pokemon decks. And so that's really nice. You don't really get the turn 1 attack. I mean, you do, which is Badu, but you're not like using it for something else, but you're still slowing your opponent down. So it's very, very good, right? Badu is just like a crazy good card. And I think post rotation is still going to be very good, easy to find. And also, there is an Arven, which is, I think, good for this. And specifically, there aren't the TMs, which are powerful setup pieces that are on tools, and they, now can't be used. Instead, you'll have to use items, which you can't use, so Badu is just super good. We have the next card here, which is Judge. Judge is an interesting card. Pre-rotation, it's not that good. It's like, it's just not very good. I mean, it's outclassed by Iono, and that's why it's not so good. But it's each player shuffles the hand into their deck and draws 4. This card is not rotating. It's being reprinted in perfect order, if you were wondering. Currently, it is set to rotate, but again, it will be reprinted there. So, yeah, Judge is a card that is nice. I mean, it draws you a decent amount of cards and disrupts your opponent decently. In the early game, it's a worse draw supporter than Iono. In the late game, it's a worse disruptive supporter than Iono. That being said, in the late game, it's a better draw supporter. In the early game, it's a better disruptive supporter. So it's more well-rounded. It's a good card. And most importantly, because Iono's rotating, this is like the best disruptive supporter. There aren't any other particularly good options. There's some coin flip ones which are inconsistent, and there's Zeus Ex Machinations, and I guess Ares as well. Ares is pretty different, but Zeus Ex Machinations is just not very reliable, and also not a draw supporter, right? So Judge is pretty good within. I mean, it's the best card in an important role. It's not an amazingly powerful card. It's a decently good card in the past. I mean, as you can see on the right here, it's been printed a bunch of times, and it's seen play when it's been printed in the past, but yeah, it's gonna be good again without Iono, and I don't expect Iono to get reprinted or spiritually reprinted anytime soon. I mean, it could be, but I think research will. I've said that. I'm kind of surprised that research is rotating. I guess that also helps this supporter here as well, because you are looking for draw supporters. But yeah, Judge is, I think, a card that will be the best disruptive supporter for a little while here. And we have the next supporter, which is Team Rocket's Petrel. This is another good supporter. This one's replacing Arven's, like Judge is replacing Iono. And Team Rocket's Petrel, it's a supporter. You just search for a trainer, reveal it, put into your hand. And yeah, this card is quite good. I think we're now getting into the cards that are like really, in my opinion, clear top 10 cards. And this is the biggest new card with rotation. It's not, a new card, but it's a card that is being put into a more prominent role because it is essentially worse than Arven in Standard. I don't know. They're kind of similar, but it is a little worse. It does have some synergies, but those are pretty specific to certain decks. I mean, Team Rocket's decks, and I guess you could use it with Team Rocket's Transceiver or whatever. But ultimately, Arven's a good card. As I said, they're pretty similar in terms of what they do and how well they do it. As I said, Arven's like a little better, getting you 2 cards, specifically in the early turns of the game. And the second card isn't that useful in the tool, but sometimes it can be. Sometimes it can be a very important part of your deck. So, but that's rotating, right? So if you want to do something similar to Arven, then you need to be playing Team Rocket's Petrel. And yeah, I mean, that's really all there is to it. I guess we've seen this card before with Skyla, which is like, okay, I don't expect this sport to be like super crazy good, but I mean, I expect it to be pretty good, obviously. And as I said, we're losing Arven, we're losing Iono, we're also losing Research. So I think this is a supporter that's going to see a bunch of play. I've heard a lot of talk about the supporter. I think it makes so much sense. A lot of people in my comment section and stuff have said it makes a lot of sense as well. So, I mean, filling a role, not that it's bad in Standard pre-rotation, but post-rotation, it's filling a role that is then, empty. Pre-rotation, it's honestly been played very little because Arven fills a similar role, just generally a little bit better. But yeah, Team Rocket's Petrel it's super good. I will say the Team Rocket stuff is also getting better, so the synergies there are a bit relevant, but for the most part, it's just there as like a good supporter. Then we have the next card here. This is a card that I've dropped a bit on the list. My opinions have kind of like wavered a bit on this card over time. I do think it is definitely the best Pokemon in the game, but that's Fezandipiti EX. If one of your Pokemon is knocked out last turn, then you get to draw 3 cards. You can't use more than flip a script per turn. That being said, I think I don't know, like right now it's just a 1 of. I could see it being a 2 of because it's hard to search, but that's not because it's getting better. That's because it's really getting worse, and then you'll have to play more copies. So, because we're losing Nest Ball, we still have Ultra Ball. We're losing Nest Ball, so I think that's hurting this card. That's the main reason I'm dropping this down a little. But it's a very good card. Drawing 3 cards is a bunch, like not every turn, but a lot of turns. And yeah, I mean it's a very good card if you played Standard. since this card's come out, it's a very, very powerful card. It can be hard to judge the value of cards that are drawing you cards, but Fezandipti is pretty clear. You're always going for when you need it. It's so good. And we have the next card here. This is Buddy Buddy Poffin. Buddy Buddy Poffin, I don't know if I've dropped it on my list since last time, but I do think it's a little worse than it was before, searching for two basics with 70 HP or less and putting them onto your bench. And this is obviously, it's a card that searches basics and single prize basics. I think they're all single prizes, at least in standard. I think in like expanded they are as well, but I think in unlimited they aren't all single prizes, if I'm not mistaken. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one. But anyways, Buddy Buddy Poffin, obviously, it's good in standard, right? Getting you set up mostly for stage 2s. Instead, we are losing Arven, which has some synergy with Buddy Buddy Poffin. And we are like losing the stage 2 decks or like a bunch of evolution decks, like a lot of the top decks of the game right now are evolution decks, and they are also rotating. Not that this will be bad, I don't think. I think it's going to be a very, very good card post-rotation. I will talk about this card actually a little bit more later, because in some sense it's getting passed up by another card in my opinion, but we will see on that one in the future as time goes on. And we have the next card here, Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball I do think is a bit better than Buddy Buddy Poffin. Obviously the three Pokemon search cards we have in standard before Ascended Heroes, being Ultra Ball, Nest Ball, and Buddy Buddy Poffin, they're all very good cards. I think there's legitimate arguments to rank them in any order, and argue where they fall within this list, but they are all very good. Ultra Ball discarding 2, getting any Pokemon. Discarding 2 cards isn't usually too bad. It's usually a little bad there, right? Like, it's not great, but it gets you any Pokemon, and specifically this is the only way to search out, like, anything you can't get with Buddy Buddy Poffin. This is the only, or no, anything you can't, what am I saying? Any basic, like the Pokemon you could nest ball for, right? Or the Pokemon you can't nest ball for that are evolutions, like your Dragapult EXs, Fezandipiti EXs, those types of cards. It's very useful, and yeah, I mean, it's a good card, and it's a very safe Pokemon search option, but in terms of raw power, you discard 2 cards and play this to get another card, so you're losing a bunch of cards. You can't rely on this fully as well, because it only gets you 1 Pokemon, unlike Buddy Buddy Poffin, which gets you 2. But it is a very good card. It's very versatile and helps your consistency out quite a lot. And I think with something like Fezandipiti EX, Meowth EX, you will be needing to play 4 Ultra Balls, and this card's going to be very good. But you kind of have to play Ultra Ball as opposed to you get to play Ultra Ball, if that makes sense there. Then we have the next card, which is Night Stretcher. Night Stretcher. This is a card that I think my opinions have mostly just gone up on in recent history. This card is so good, getting either a Pokemon or a basic energy from your discard back into your hand. In some ways, this can act as a like an item search card, kind of like Earthen Vessel, which is rotating, or like Nest Ball or whatever, right? Which is also rotating, and that's because this card allows you to get a card from your discard, and there's a point at which you'll have a lot of cards in your discard, so again, it acts kind of like search. This is like kind of good with the research. I'm playing that in Dragapult, but that's like relatively, I don't know if it's niche is the right word, but it's not like the most important thing about it. But it gets you cards back. Also, Super Rod is rotating, and Superior Energy Retrieval is also rotating. So if you need recovery, this is going to be, I mean, it's a bit different than those cards. I've heard some people talk about Energy Recycler and Sacred Ash, which are also a bit of a similar role to those cards, but those cards also aren't like super good. I mean, they don't get you the cards into your hand, and they're also not. I'd say they're not as versatile. I mean, they can't get you. They get you one Pokemon or energy, right? They don't get you both. They get a bunch though, so that is useful. But ultimately, Night Stretcher is a very powerful card. It's super powerful for really any deck in the game. There are some decks where like you need it to get Pokemon back consistently. There are other decks where you just have it as like a small piece of the deck to help you recover in like weird situations. But it's very, very powerful in any deck. Then the number 3 card in the game, post-rotation, and I'm not actually sure where it ranks pre-rotation. I haven't done a pre-rotation card ranking since this card has come out, but that's Pokepad, which is here from Ascended Heroes. It is also in perfect order, I believe, but it's being like printed again. It's printed first in Ascended Heroes. I mean, it's out now, right? And this card is very good, getting any Pokemon that's a non-rule box from your deck into your hand. I was kind of talking a little weirdly about Buddy Buddy Poffin and Ultra Ball, and that's because of this card. I mean, This card is so good. It gets you any non-dual Pokemon into your hand. And it's not really, it's like kind of a replacement for Nest Ball. Obviously, the cards it gets are different. I mean, some are the same, but a lot are different there. But this card is very good. It gets you a lot of different things. And it also doesn't discard cards from your hand. I mean, it's like super powerful. Obviously, a single prize deck, this is like super good for them. I wouldn't say it makes single prize decks a lot stronger. Again, it only gets you one card, and like What Away Performance gets you two, and so I mean it is very good though. I'm not really gonna sit here and deny that it's very good, and it is helping single prize decks some, but even a deck like Dragapult, it's super good in because even though you're not all single prizes, you're mostly single prizes. And that's true for most decks in the game, to be honest, except for like a basic box decks is basic box decks. There we go. But honestly, something like maybe like Noctowl could definitely be playing it as well. So I mean, this card's like super good. I could honestly see it in like even a deck like the what's it the Absol Kangaskhan box deck, because you could search it off of Petrol, though I don't know if that's super useful. It's not really something I do, but I could see it being played there, which is like the worst case situation for the deck, worst case like deck for this card. So ultimately, Pokebad is super good. I don't know if I'm overrating it. This is the card I'm most interested in hearing people's thoughts down below on in the comment section. I guess also Judge, I think it's interesting to hear people's thoughts on, and I guess also Petrol. I mean, any of the cards, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section, but this one is definitely, I mean, it's very good. Ultimately, arguing between like a few slots in this list doesn't matter too much, but I think it's interesting to hear people's thoughts on this. But Pokebad is like super good. I played with it, honestly, not that much so far, but when I played with it, I mean, it's like obviously very good. It's a four of in a lot of decks, I think, especially post-rotation losing Nest Ball, where Ultra Ball and Buddy Behind Puffin each have their flaws. Pokemon has some flaws, but I mean, there's some decks where Pokemon doesn't really have any flaws, and there's some decks where it has relatively minimal flaws. So it's super super powerful. The number two card in the game, in my opinion, post rotation is Boss's Orders. We are losing Counter Catcher, so Counter Catcher is very good. I think like the only reason you could kind of say Boss Orders isn't super good, and yeah, I mean Boss Orders isn't rotating, and it's been like very important for a while, and yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of megas, so you got some weird prize mapping, and boss orders can help smooth that out. I mean, something like Latias DX is good. You can trap that using Ethan Sudowoodo because Naclu's rotating, I believe. And that's like a little situational, but I've been playing Control recently. And yeah, boss orders is just very, very good. Gusting is a win condition a lot of times, so yeah, this is super good. You know, I don't think there's really anyone who would disagree about this. I don't think it's the best card in the game, though, which I will say right now, which is Lilia's Determination. I think Lilia's Determination, well, no, not right now, but you know, with rotation, with the loss of research, with the loss of Iono, right now in standard, there are, and I think regular, I say this generally, I think draw supporters are better than search supporters. That's the only reason I could actually see Petrol not being super good. But there are, when I say draw sports, I mean sports that draw you like, you know, a bunch of cards, 6, 7, 8 cards, like a lot of cards there, 5 maybe with Iono, but like, or like Marnie in the past, but these are like good cards. And something like Iono and Marnie, they have this upside outside of drawing cards. You look at Research drawing 7, you look at Lily's drawing 6 or 8, 8 and in the early turns, right? So Lily's Determination is very powerful, arguably the best of the main draw supporters, but I don't know if I'd say that. I mean, I would say Iono's a better card than it personally, but Iono's rotating, Research is rotating. So out of the 3, you got 1, and running like I've ran 12 of the draw sports in a deck. That's like a lot, but certainly I've ran, you know, 8's not crazy, and now there's only 4 copies of Lilia's Determination. So you'll be playing, I think, for Lilia's in a lot of different decks post rotation. I think it is the best card in the game. When I saw it revealed, I was like, this is going to be the best card in the game. But then, you know, when we saw the format, there are other cards that are also very powerful competing with it for supporter slots. I mean, there are a lot of powerful supporters in the game right now. And so Lily's was competing with them, but then a bunch of them are rotating. So I think it's not really competing with them anymore, and not really competing with that many other cards that are replacing it. Like, you know, this ain't competing with Judge. Judge is not as good as Lily's. It draws you half as many cards at the beginning of the game, and it disrupts your opponent sometimes, but isn't like an amazing disruptive supporter. And then Petrol, I mean, Petrol's like fine. Certainly a decent card. And there's like Carmen. Carmen's like okay, you know, there's some like fine supporters, but And it's not really competing with Boss. I mean, they're very different cards. And yeah, Lilies is just like super good. I'm wondering if people also agree with me on this take that Lilies is the best card post rotation. I think, I'm assuming everyone would have it in their top 10. That'd be kind of weird. It presumably gets better, and it's presumably already top 10. So I can't really see any reason for it not to be there. But yeah, I really do think it is the best card post rotation. When I was like kind of breaking this down and thinking about the cards that are rotating and staying. But I'm just hearing, as I said before, your thoughts in the comment section down below. But I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the good stuff. And as Osmo said, see you in the next video.